All right, I'll say, how are you all this evening of your time as you create time to exist? How are you all?
Fine.
Thank you very much. We will begin this interaction this evening of your time with the entitlement. Just say, no thank you. The idea is as follows. From our perspective, the ultimate truth is composed of all truths. For it to ultimately be the truth, you can leave nothing out. All truths are true within the framework of those who hold them, the framework of those who buy into those particular beliefs. And though a belief system, a truth that you may hold, would seem on the surface to exclude the belief system or truth of another, it only does so from your perspective. From the perspective of the ultimate truth, it is all true. And it is not this or that, it is both. This and that. Both. We understand that at first this may seem a little strange to your ears. Well, if it's this, it can't be that. Everybody knows that. But the idea is that the individuals who believe that say the same thing about you. And they are no less correct in the overall ultimate sense than are you. This does not mean that particular truths are less and more positive or more negative or less negative. But the idea is that all truths, all belief systems have validity. They are all indeed explorations, valid explorations. They may be explorations of positivity, integration. They may as well be explorations of negativity and separation. However, they all hold equal validity. This does not mean you need condone a particularly negative viewpoint. But what we are sharing is that all viewpoints are equally valid. The advantage to beginning to realize this and apply it is that as you are willing to equalize all truths in validity, you then give yourself a more equal choice, a more equal access to all truths, and therefore can begin to determine which truths you do prefer and begin to hold them, apply them, and therefore manifest them, get what you want in that sense from that truth. But paradoxically, by invalidating another truth or another choice, you give the thing that you say you are invalidating more weight. You hold it in place. You place attention upon it. And this giving or assigning more weight actually makes you more likely to choose the very thing you say you don't prefer. Now, by being willing to even think that there may be some validity in all ideas, all truths, perhaps that will then give you the open attitude to begin to see how they are valid. Now, it is not that you need necessarily see how every little thing is valid in terms of its relationship to you. You will have more of a relative degree of significances to some ideas than another. But even those that are not relevant to you, still, from the overall sense of all that is God, have validity. This brings up the notion of learning in that sense to interact with individuals who hold different beliefs than you and still maintaining positive integration from your standpoint, still being within your integrity. Therefore, the question comes up from time to time, well, if someone offers me something that I do not prefer, How do I communicate in an integrated way to that individual without invalidating them? Perhaps the issue polarizes you so much that it would be your tendency immediately to scream at the individual. And needless to say, this is not exactly a primary form of validation. So the idea is very, very simple. You have within your language certain ideas, certain wordings that allow you to express yourself and at the same time maintain a certain civil tone, a certain politeness in a sense. And they are simply, no thank you. Thanks, but no thanks. No thank you in and of itself says two things. It says, this is not me. I do not prefer it. However, thank you. I validate it. I can picture in some sense how perhaps that serves you, and I thank you for your willingness to present this gift to me. And when you will look at what individuals have to offer as gifts rather than impositions, you give yourself at least an opportunity to glean something from it in positive service. When you say, oh, shut up, idiot, you do not allow yourself to glean anything. You shut the very door. We purposefully use that wording for, put it this way, we've heard it before, upon your planet. Not to invalidate it either, but to point out that perhaps that will not get you what it is you say you desire. And what we wish to share with your society is the idea that you can establish your preference and manifest it. In other words, get what you want. But again, paradoxically, not by invalidating what you don't want. And your willingness to validate what you don't want as being equal, though not at all preferential, gives you the equal access to the thing you say you desire. An analogy we have used, we will share again. Loosely speaking, we have labeled it, that's their story. Individual comes along, espouses to you a particular viewpoint. If you will simply say, that's their story, then that allows you to glean what pages from their story fit into your book. And if no pages fit into your book, or if only a few actually fit, you need love their story no less. It is still just that, their story, valid story. This is my story, this is their story. But when you begin to have an open attitude and begin to recognize that you do, by being the vibration of who you are, attract anything that you interact with for some reason, you can begin to look with more open eyes at what pages of their book help to fatten up your own book. And the idea is you will find more often than not that even with individuals who seem to have, quote unquote, nothing to offer, which by the way is impossible, you will see that there may just be a little nuance, but there is something within it that you can use. Perhaps a footnote. But the idea is something that can be applicable within your story. We have discussed the idea that you are all a particular vibration. The vibration that you are is set up by your beliefs, emotions, thoughts, and ultimately your actions. You can only experience a reality that you are the vibration of. Therefore, anything you attract, anything, if you will begin to look at it this way, is attracted to you due to the vibration you have become. Now, often this allows you to see very many things about the vibration you have created that you do not prefer and perhaps wish to change. But when you will begin to look at it this way, you will give yourself the opportunity to begin to hone in on the things that you may wish to change, the beliefs that you are holding that no longer serve you. But by labeling something, someone, or any event as extraneous, not belonging there, how did you get in there? You do not give yourself any receptive attitude and shut down any ability to glean anything from it. So you may, if you wish, we will not force you, begin to recognize that if you use any portion of what it is you have attracted, you are now beginning to be a conscious creator of your reality. You are beginning to take back total responsibility for everything that you've created. And again, you define yourself in many ways. One way is to give yourself so many examples of the things you prefer, to reinforce who it is you are, what it is you prefer. But another way, just as valid, is to give yourself so many examples of that which you do not prefer. And you do not have to do it that way. By using the things that you've attracted, that you think on the surface you do not prefer, gleaning something from them, you will allow the remnants of the creations that you have drawn to yourself, perhaps unconsciously, to deliver their message. And when symbols deliver a message, they do not hang around, they transform. Therefore, you need not agree with anybody's viewpoint. You may find that if you will be a bit empathic, you may agree with more than you had thought. But the idea is that it is of service to you. Everything allows you to define yourself still further. What you do prefer is an indication to you of who you are. But what you do not prefer is just as much an indication to you of who you are. Therefore, they are of equal service. And you can begin in that sense by validating the things you don't prefer to transform their effects upon you out of your life altogether. So as you expand, you will still see more of everything, more of what you prefer, more of what you do not prefer. You will see this, you will be aware of it. This is what the expansion of awareness means. But you need not personally experience in your world, in your universe, in your reality, the things you say you do not prefer. And the first step toward doing so is to validate the things you don't prefer. Glean from them what you can. Assume that you have attracted them for a reason, thereby giving yourself the opportunity to begin to search for what the reason is. Nothing slips in there. Everything that exists, and there are no pointless or extraneous creations. Not even you. Everything belongs. Therefore, everything is usable. And as you are more willing to use what you've already created and begin to consciously have an intention about what it is you wish to continue to create, you transform out of your immediate experience the things you do not prefer, and only then experience that which you do once you have, shall we say, given it a go for a while. You live within a universe that part of the definition is time, and perhaps there will be a little bit of time in between the conception of thinking this way, beginning to act this way, and beginning to, as you say, reap the benefits of such an action. So therefore, when someone comes along and says something you do not prefer, just say, no thank you. I love your story no less. Thank you for presenting the gift that you did. I will use part of it. Please do not be offended if I do not use the rest. Also, when you are offering who you are to someone else, if you truly believe in the idea that you are espousing, you need not convince anyone of it. If you truly believe in the power of your ideas, they stand alone on their own. If you find yourself convincing someone of a particular reality that from your perspective is the only way, then in that sense, you are not realizing this idea. You are not believing in the power of your own idea. And the bottom line is the person that you are really trying to convince is yourself. If you truly believe in the power of your ideas, they are simply gifts. Period. And you do not, at least from our perspective and having observed your society, cram your Christmas gifts down each other's throats. You simply offer them with the idea that it will be something that is appreciated. If not, this is why you save the receipt. The idea is, however, that you do not give a gift insisting that someone must take it. Therefore, when someone else offers you a gift, be willing to look at the portions of the gift that enhance who you are. When you share who you are with another, that is the most that you can do. And that is the most responsible you can be. And listen to the wording, to, not for, to another individual. For you all create your own reality, all of you. So therefore, you can only really be responsible for yourself. You cannot be responsible for someone else, but you can be responsible to them. And by being responsible for yourself, this means giving them the truest reflection of who you are. Not who it is you think they want to hear. Not saying what it is you think they wish to hear. When you do that, you are not giving the gift of who you are. And in effect, what you are allowing to occur when you say something that you think someone else wants to hear, that is not reflective of your true beliefs. All you are doing is allowing them to have a very elaborate conversation with themselves. And this, in a sense, does not provide them the greatest opportunity for growth. Your perspective being different and unique, without saying that they need to take it, is the greatest opportunity for growth that you can give another, whether or not they accept it. If they accept it, then they will grow from the ideas of expansion that you have shared. If they do not, they have also grown, for they have reasserted to themselves who they are. Therefore, allow us now to share with you all your perspectives as well as ours. We find the ultimate enrichment in our reality is the gifts that you all have to share. Now, it is not that many of the ideas that you share are always things that we would necessarily use, but we do not invalidate any of them. Any of them. And you can do the same. Otherwise, we would not be able to interact with you. And upon interacting with you, you simply would not hear a word that is being said. So take for granted that if you can hear this and understand it on any level, you contain it as well. And anything you see in us as a sparkling example is merely a shiny mirror. And what you are looking at that you love in us or any external symbol is what is already within you. Therefore, we thank you for the light that you emanate. We thank you for the varying packages of your gifts. We validate your gifts and we enjoy sharing with you. for the gift of your willingness to interact with us as an equal. We again thank you for your willingness to act as ambassadors, literally, from your civilization, and allowing us to act as ambassadors for our respective civilizations. I ask you now, how may we be of service to you? Sharing